Hi, everybody. Tommy here from Queers and Soaps. I just wanted to introduce you to some friends of mine who are about to embark on some fun soap opera discussion. So tune in and enjoy, and I will see you soon.
Hello and welcome to Queers and Soaps. I'm Eric and I'm joined once again by Karen, but this time we're doing General Hospital following up with the Ice Princess storyline. That aired in 1981, September 22nd to September 25th, we're going to do. Complete episodes, not the TV movies that we were given to watch before. But let's, Tommy, roll those credits and we'll get into it. Let's see. So I looked up. I just was curious about some things. So I looked up. I found out the original Laura aired from 1974 to 76. Her name was Stacey Baldwin, and they aged her, which is why they let her go in 76. And Jeannie Francis joined in 77, in early 77. Um, is that the only fact? Oh, and then so I looked up that Hutch guy.
Oh, he's
Which
from The Left-Handed Boy. He's from Summer on the Run.
Right. So I looked up Hutch and he was only on, I think, a year, but he was hired by Frank Smith to chase Luke and Laura around and he killed a bunch of people.
Hmm.
So we're wrapping up his storyline in these episodes as well. So, we're on the coast of South America still. Luke just pulled the trigger or the little lever,
Yeah.
um, which was very dramatic. Um, Now that's not Cassadine Island, correct?
No, it's not Castine
Okay.
Island. It was off the coast of
South
Venezuela.
America in Venezuela. Okay.
Yeah, because they had a Caracas radio on. That's how they knew they were off the coast of Venezuela.
So Luke pulled the lever. I guess Victor wraps up his run here too. I'm not sure if he comes back for the wedding or anything or whatever,
So,
but
comment
he's
on Victor is he does eventually come back, and it's still the same actor for a long time. And I also
okay.
thought that Shaughnessy is kind of like a perfect recast after watching the original Victor.
Well, it can't be for that long because he joins Days of Our Lives in
I did look
82.
him up. Hold on, I did look him up because I know his name's like Tom.
Tao Pinglis.
Yeah, and he
Yeah.
he was
Which
off
I'm
and
totally
on.
butchering, I'm sure, but
Well,
I'm pretty sure you say it Tao.
probably. But
But
he was on for a while off and on. He wasn't on all the time, but he came back at one point. I'm never gonna find it in my notes, but
because
I
I know
did.
contracts were a little bit more stern back in the 80s, 70s, 80s.
Yeah, they weren't
So
allowed
it's
to be on different
yeah,
channels.
they
But
couldn't be on two different soaps.
when I looked him up, it said 81 to 2014. He was considered the character, so he must have popped back at some point.
Well, a lot of times what they do, so when he came back in like I want to say 2013 or 14.
Hmm.
Um, but I think this was his wrap up in 81 because on IMDb like it always says the certain years even though he wasn't on all those years.
Yeah, it's just as
Um,
long as he was the character, like as long as he counts as the character before they recast. Sometimes it's like
right.
that.
So I don't know if they recast him at some point. But I don't know if we're even going to get to him coming back unless he does come back for the wedding with
I
Helena.
did
I'm not
I did
sure.
like him. I thought he was a
Oh
very
yeah,
good
he's great.
Cassadine. He was very good at kind of playing the role almost that Nicholas has in the future, the one that's kind of straddling being good or evil. Because,
Right.
he kind of gave up really fast at the end of Ice Princess.
Yeah, he did. I mean, I feel like he was so torn. Like he was just struggling. Like he wanted to, his brother's his only family member left, I guess, that we
Well,
know of.
Tony died in that, so he lost.
Tony froze, yeah.
And then Mikos died, and then he was left alone. And I think at
Yeah,
that point, I think the heart went out of him because even before that, he was kind of questioning whether or not this was the best plan. And that's like
Right.
Nikos was putting everyone in their rooms and locking them in and being like, not listening to me, into your room. Like he just started shoving everyone into rooms at the end.
And
So
none of the future Cassadines were written yet, so he was
yeah, that
probably the only one standing.
they don't
Probably even
exist.
probably even Helena wasn't written at that point. Maybe they were just creating her, for the November when she came on. But so basically they're saved. Tiffany calls Victor a loser. Um,
He's so depressed. I feel bad for him actually.
I do love I know, and I do love Tiffany, but she is an asshole in
She kind of is.
only not all the time, but like in this situation. Like I'm like, dude, look what he went through. He lost a brother, and his brother was crazy, and he was kind of torn in between. Like he was, and he was believing Tiffany, and I felt like I don't
I
know, I felt
know,
like
but
she was kind of a douche.
if you look at it from her point of view, it was kind of like a black and white situation where she's like,
Right.
Robert and
You're
I are the
bad,
good
I'm good.
guys. I'm good. And, I think it was really more her just blowing off steam for being scared for as long as she had to be because she was bluffing
Right.
for
Oh,
hours
for
after
sure.
that.
For
So
sure.
I get it. Also, can I just make a comment about the WSB uniforms? What the hell was that? They look like Peter Pan. They were such strange uniforms, and they come in and they have
Yeah.
like the yellow accents on khaki, like a green. Very bizarre.
I
I
I
wrote down, I was like, if this is the WSB uniform, I would not join.
I
It was
guess I
terrible.
guess they had to like have different uniforms from the guards that were on. I don't know. It was just what maybe they probably just felt that. But they just couldn't have like a bunch of people in suits, I guess.
Although to go back to your Tiffany being an asshole, her line was, "I've always gone with a winner," and then she stands near Robert, and I was like, "Tiff, that's great, so good."
Yeah. She's a douche. So we have Rose is talking to Hutch. We see that throughout these episodes, and that's basically all they do is talk. And she wants to kind of go with them, and she's like, "We'll go on the run." Now, this dude, I did look it up. He killed like 5 people or 6 people, so like, and he got away with it. He totally gets away with it. So,
It was weird because, like, I don't know, I feel like sometimes that Rose Kelly can be a very sad character because she just seems to want
mm,
to be in love so badly, and
yeah,
she hid Hutch, she fell in love with him while he was there for what, a week, and she was just like, "I think I'll
yeah.
run away with you," and he was just like, "You're crazy." Even he was like, "I love you, but, like, what kinda I murdered a bunch of people, what kinda life can that be?"
Well, and Hutch is a hitman, so I'm like, well, that's the hitman's life. If you fall for a hitman, that's what you gotta, suck it
Yeah,
up,
but
I guess.
usually they hide that part of their lives from their loved ones, like,
Yeah,
because I mean, like, there was that killer, the Iceman, and, like, I don't think his family knew that he was a serial killer, you know?
right.
So, I don't know, it was kinda cute, it was kinda romantic, but then when you stop and think about the fact that this guy killed 5 people, it really just kinda takes the air out of that.
Yeah. Well, maybe you were like in it when you're watching, every day. I don't know.
Mhm.
And you're like, oh, that's
Probably.
what, it's like a lot of people. We all like villains at sometimes, and they kill people and rape people sometimes, and we still end up liking them somehow.
Good
And I guess like
writing, great
and yeah,
chemistry.
good writing, but and hopefully in real life, that doesn't happen as much.
I hope not.
But we have a bunch of people at the hospital are talking about the weather changing, because it was about to freeze. I guess they were gonna die soon. I'm not really sure how
Well,
it worked.
when it gets too cold, the electrical grid's gonna go out, like, because the grid is not
Right.
prepared
It'll
for
pop.
the high temperatures. So when that
Yeah.
happens, people at the hospital would start to die because there wouldn't be any heat and there wouldn't be equipment, and that's why all of the doctors were panic doing surgeries, trying to get the surgeries done before
Yeah.
the electricity went out, and you get to see Georgia and, Jessie Brewer and Amy, like, all the nurses.
Yeah. Yeah. And Bobby's hair is much better too, I
Oh, I
must say.
love
When we see
Bobby.
Bobby.
Anytime I see
Um
Bobby, I'm happy.
yeah. Oh, so Steve, Audrey, and crew I have. Like I guess they're all together staying warm. In the hospital. They get to talk to Luke and they find out that the weather machine was reversed and everybody's happy. Rick is happy to hear that Laura's okay. Um, I have note that Luke sang Winter Wonderland, which kind of was funny.
It was funny. I didn't really understand why I guess he chose to sing that because this is September. But I think he chose to
Yeah,
sing that because of the whole weather machine. But like he's always singing. He's so cute when he's with Laura. Like they're always singing and
yeah.
dancing and happy.
They are fun together, unless he's raping her.
No, God.
Um, so we have Tiffany asks about Laura, and she wants to know about his money. So she's
About
very,
Robert, yeah.
yeah,
Listen, she thinks Robert's hot, but if he has a ton of money from these diamond mines, then he's super hot and he can produce her movies.
right. She wants him to be a producer in her movies or a movie, whatever. Um, so we get an overhead from Steve that the weather has been cleared. So
Hmm.
it's like, yay! So everything's going back to normal or whatever it was in September of that year in 1981. We have a Mr. Gorgon. He wants to talk to Monica. So we have the storyline with Susan going on back then.
Do you want me to summarize that real quick?
No, we'll talk about it through these
Okay.
episodes. So, and it kind of made me mad watching through these episodes. Now, me and Karen we're watching. We started in Emma Sam's when Emma Sam's joined in 1982, and we're in like middle of 83 right now. And so we got to see Susan die and be a drunk and a nightmare. But in these, she's so pleasant and in love with Alan, and I'm like, this is so sad. Like I'm like, I feel really sad for her. Like, I don't know. So we'll see what's gonna happen coming up, but like, it's just, I don't know. I just
Well,
feel sad
the
because he's
big
telling
thing
her
is,
everything that she wants to hear, and he's like, I love you, and they
well,
just
he's
had
in love.
Jason.
He's in love. But like the whole thing is they just found out that AJ is actually Alan's son
Right,
because he has the Quartermain birthmark. But also he had to have heart surgery. So the baby's in intensive care right now
right,
while Alan's mistress is having his son. So
right.
like this is a tough time for Monica.
Yeah. There's a lot going on with babies. Yeah, and we don't even see AJ once. I'm like, they shouldn't like even had him because like I feel like he's never been cared about
you
as a character
You see them
or
at Christmas time. You usually see the kids at Christmas time. You don't see them very
right,
often at all because I guess at this point in time, until Robin comes on, they didn't care about the kids. The kids were just like, "Here's a baby off camera."
right, yeah, it's and I get it, but at the same time, like I almost feel like when you have a couple, like you kind of want to see them with their child here and there, like do like real life couple things, like oh, well, we'll take the baby here or whatever.
Especially in this situation where we thought Alan or Rick could be the father of the baby. So there's all this contention around AJ, and yet you never see AJ. It's all the adults
Right,
talking about AJ, but you don't see AJ. And then even with Jason, Jason is the mistress's baby. So like that's a whole drama in there, and yet you
yeah,
see
but
the baby a handful of times.
you still see him way more than we saw Jason a lot in 82 and 83 with
That's-
Heather and Susan like constantly taking him to the hospital and stuff like but AJ I feel like we didn't even see him in 82
Okay.
and
Okay,
83.
so AJ is one of my favorite characters ever, and it really hurts my feelings how little anyone gave a shit about him, even as a
Yeah,
child. Even though Monica and Alan are both like saying they're gonna fight to the death for custody, it feels more like posturing than actual caring about this baby. And like that kind of is a
yeah,
through line for AJ's entire life. And I hate that.
right,
I hate it.
right. And then when they brought him back to kill him off again it was just
Oh
it's
yeah,
just
that was
sad.
horrible writing. I was so upsetting.
Yeah, I don't understand like
Sorry,
I don't know.
writers who wrote that, but
Yeah, it's
we
not
know where
good.
my loyalties lie. It's with the Quartermains.
So yeah, Mr. Gorgon leaves Monica a note. Amy gives the note to Alan. Monica yells at Amy. Um, or was it Captain Ramsey?
Is that
He's a
Bert?
captain, right?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, Ramsey. So, he's like harassing Heather. I guess Heather freshly got off of her murder rap.
She so Diana, I think it's Diana
Taylor.
yeah, Diana Taylor.
Yeah.
She was accused of murdering her, and according to
Yes.
Joe, he's the one that gave the gun to the police.
Yes.
And they're romantically involved at this point, or just about to be romantically involved. So like that was devastating for Heather.
And upsetting for Joe because he liked her. And
Yeah.
but she didn't even know she was free and clear because I guess she was hazed. I guess was that when she was drugged
So she
with
tried
the
to drug Diana Taylor with LSD and she accidentally ingested it herself and tripped out. So she did not actually know whether or not she committed the felony.
Right. So for her to be mad at him was kind of funny because she should be mad at herself because she thought she might have done it herself.
I don't think she's
Because I
mad
think she
because
wanted to kill her.
whether she killed anyone or not. I think she's mad because Joe's loyalty was to the law and not to her,
Right.
which is typical of Heather. I love Heather.
Typical Heather stuff.
She's so
I love Heather
crazy.
too, but she's a crazy asshole.
I know,
as
that's
we
why
know.
I love her. I love that she's crazy. I think she's a very complicated and fun character because she obviously has almost like her own code of interaction, but it doesn't make sense because as you know,
Right.
eventually she's incredibly loyal to Scotty, but he doesn't deserve that at that point. I don't know. So like she has
Scotty deserves
loyalty.
everything he gets.
Oh, I adore Scotty, but
And she should be loyal because she's an asshole and so is he. So they can be assholes together. Happy
I don't
assholes.
know. I don't know. Okay. All right. We'll give you that. But I don't know. I still think like she very much operates under her own code. And it's just, she was just like, why would Joe turn the gun in? What if I had done it? Why would he do that to me? Instead of like, he thought you murdered somebody and he was doing the right thing.
Right. So back on the island, Laura finds a copy of the formula. She memorizes it. It's the Mikos formula, whatever.
Why
And
did
what did
she decide to memorize it? She says because she was bored. She just pulled it out and started memorizing it. Like,
and memorized it? Yeah,
I mean,
I
it
don't
was
know.
useful 30 years later, but she memorized it for no reason.
Yeah, yeah, I don't really know.
It was cool. I think she said she was bored, so she just memorized it. But then,
Right.
like, it was so funny. I love that she did that.
Yeah,
Laura's a
it was
badass.
pretty funny. Yeah, so Laura does that. She destroys it, the formula.
They have two copies, so they take both copies and they burn them.
Right.
And they actually talk
Um,
about how nobody will know the formula. And Laura does mention that she memorized it. And Robert yells at her and tells her to forget it.
But
And
then
she
she
does.
said she forgot it, so that was weird. I'm
She
like, is this like
lied
supposed to be for the future?
because in the future
Well,
she
yeah,
did remember it. She remembered it. Like she
I was
remembered
gonna
it a
say.
million years later. She was just like, "Oh yeah, like I'd ever forget that." She's such a badass.
So we're wrapping up the Monica and Rick affair, it looks like, because they're giving these little stares to each other and they're talking to each other. Um, so I knew they had an affair in I think 79, right? 80,
It was
something
a
like that.
long thing where they had an affair, and they reference it in one of the episodes where Monica's just basically like, "You tried to kill us," which he did. Alan tried to kill both Monica and Rick at
Yeah,
It was amazing. It's great storytelling, but like
yeah.
they,
That was in 1980 that happened. So I guess
I
they were
love it.
together for a while.
Yeah, because when Leslie calls Rick, he tells her like very earnestly that he loves her, and I think that's him saying like that is over, and it's like
Right.
those two.
All right. So we have this kid around. Who's the
Jeremy.
kid? Jeremy.
He's
So
the
he's
adopted son of Anne Logan.
Anne, right. So it looks like Anne's about to leave too because she's talking about going to stay with Jeff, who is Richard Dean Anderson, correct?
Correct. That's Jeff Weber. Yep.
Right.
That's
So I guess he
Liz's
had just
dad.
left. Yeah, he just probably left, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess they're wrapping up her story. Um, so I think that's about it for that episode.
Well, remember, I don't know if it's at the end of this episode, but Leslie and Rick are going to go to Venezuela to meet with everyone.
Yeah, they're going to save them, I guess. Oh, I do have Jeremy wants Heather arrested for killing Diana Taylor. So is Diana his mom?
I
actual
don't
mom?
know. I tried to look it up and it just said Jeremy is the adopted son of Anne Logan. It was confusing in the scene because it did sound like he was afraid of Heather,
Yeah.
but it was very confusing in the scene because I don't have enough exterior information on this. And when I looked it up, the Wikipedia is very sparse on Anne Logan and Jeremy.
Right.
Because really, it only said about Anne Logan was that she was in a love triangle between Jeff Weber and somebody else, and that she was
Right.
she was a virgin. Those were like the two things they put in the post.
That's so funny.
It's the things they needed to pay attention to, I guess.
Yeah, I guess like bare minimums on there.
I
So yeah,
remember her face, but I didn't remember her very much about her.
right. So in the next episode, we basically have the same stories going on. Joe and Heather talk. Um, choo- choo- choo. They talk about Heather and her son. That's Steve and Lars, right?
Yes.
Jeff wants her kid. So this is where I got confused. So Anne gets a letter from Jeff, but is it from Jeff or do you think somebody set it up? Like Jeff,
I don't know, but if it's not, Jeff is a jerk because that letter is just basically he went somewhere for work, and
right?
then because his woman wasn't around for 5 minutes, he got another one.
Yeah, he fell in love with another, he said in this letter, and she basically had a breakdown. Um, which I think that might be in the last episode, but it doesn't matter. They're all the same
It's all
storyline.
happening.
Right. Everything's happening.
It was hard for me because the episodes didn't have titles, so they kind of like ran into each other while I was watching them. So I have just been
Yeah.
rushed. Because when Amy got yelled at, I was so upset for Amy, but Monica was right. She shouldn't have been giving the messages for both doctors to Alan because even though Monica and Alan are married, Monica has a right to privacy. But the only reason Monica was that upset was because she was doing shady shit.
Right. I do have a note that when Monica was talking to Alan, she says, well, at least she didn't try to kill anyone. Referring, I guess, to Alan trying to kill them too.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so
Yeah, because Alan met with that Corrigan guy because apparently he worked at the disco. And then Alan fired him because he was only working at the disco to spy on Alan.
yeah, so about that too. So we have that Mr. Corrigan and that Kathy girl. So I guess this Kathy girl was a plant with Monica because she's leaving town too. So I guess her storyline wrapped.
So Mr. Corrigan was spying to try and find out who Alan was cheating on Monica with and what was going on with the affair. So he's the one that finds out that Jason is Alan's son. So that's why Monica is furious throughout this whole thing. So then Alan fires him because he's trying to meet with Monica. So he knows something's up. So he fires him. And when he fires him, it turns out that Kathy, who is the babysitter, nanny,
yeah, and then
she also was working with Monica because Monica seemed to be very appreciative of her. And Alan had bought her a car, and Monica just let the girl take the car when she left, which was very cool. Very cool of her.
So after Heather and Joe are talking for a little bit, he's like, I don't know. It was a weird conversation for me because they're like, they both were like basically saying like, well, I wasn't sure if I did it, and he wasn't sure if she did it, and then they end up kissing. She slaps him. She leaves and then turns around and smiles like, yeah, he wants me. Because Heather's fucked up.
Well, it's not only that, like at that time, I feel like that was like a valid form of flirtation was to slap somebody because that happened a lot.
Yeah, we see all those hate kisses all the time.
I do not understand, but I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
By the way, though, I think it's funny though because when Rick and Leslie have to go all the way to Venezuela, but Leslie's in New York City. So they have to meet Leslie, then get on the plane, then go to Venezuela, then take a helicopter. Meanwhile, it seems like 3 minutes have passed on the island, even though they've done debriefings and stuff. And Tiffany lends Laura an absolutely crazy looking dress. And then they finally try to hook up by the waterfall. And as soon as they start having a romantic moment, here come the parents.
Yeah, I think
They
that's
hate
coming
him
around.
though. They hate Luke
Yeah,
because she's still married to Scotty at this point.
yeah. So we also get Anne and Noah. We get a little shot of Noah,
Yeah.
played by the Rick Springfield. They go to Kelly's to see Joe and Rose. Um, and they're like, so Rose is hiding Hutch, for murder, for
Hmm.
murdering people. He's hiding in the basement. Um, uh, so I guess I don't know if they're trying to find Hutch and they suspect Rose. I don't know if Rose was with him before
No,
all this or during all this.
Burt Ramsey said that he was out during the snowstorm looking for Hutch everywhere. And he said
Right.
he came back to Rose's because everyone in the neighborhood was being dropped off at Rose's because Rose had food. And she had kept half the town was in Rose's diner
Diner.
during this
Yeah.
thing. And, Hutch was still hiding in the basement. And a guy showed up at one point and he's just like, my kids don't have any food. Can I have some food? And Rose is just like, sure. And I was like, Rose, this is not how you make money. Like, this is
Right.
just not how you make money. And meanwhile, she's got Hutch in the basement with a window open and it's 40 below.
Yeah. And then we have a nice little tender moment with Edward and Alan as they talk about their affairs. Edward tells them that he has a half brother in Europe.
Jimmy Lee. That's the first Jimmy Lee mention.
And that Lila knows already.
Of course.
And he basically wants to pay Susan off, I believe, even though Alan's in love with her.
Well, Edward's opinion is that wives are wives and mistresses are mistresses, and wives you keep and mistresses you pay off. And he just doesn't seem to think that there's any point in being in love with anyone else. And he basically tells Alan he's going to side with Monica. Actually,
Right.
everyone in the family sides with Monica. They're all like, even Lila. Lila's like, you better fix things with Monica. So they're not having it in this rich family.
All right, so we're in September 24th now. And again, like these are kind of all blended together as we talk about them as they're
Yeah.
all the same story kind of.
When do they wreck the machine? Because they wreck it before Valentine gets there.
They wrecked it, I think, in the first episode we watched.
Okay, because when Valentine talks about going there, he's so excited about getting the weather machine, and he's talking to Rick and Leslie about it on the plane. And I wrote down, Valentine is a monster too, because he starts talking about stopping wars and military applications for being able to control the weather. And I got scared and I was like, well, I completely understand why Robert destroyed that machine.
Yeah, I forgot that is kind of important. We forgot to mention that they
Well,
destroyed the.
Rick
Oh,
was,
you know what? No, I'm lying. It's in this episode, September
okay,
24th.
so we're in the
So
right episode then.
I have that Luke, Laura, Robert, and Tiffany. Everybody's dancing. I don't know. I guess you dance after you save the world.
Sure, why not?
Or save Port Charles at least. Um, and then that was about the formula, and
Yeah,
they want to destroy the weather machine.
Because Rick was like, think of the medical applications. So his head was in the right space. He was like, think of what we could do with the medical applications, because they did figure out how to freeze and unfreeze people, but they didn't have a chance to do that. And that's why everybody was in that chill room. All the corpses were in that room, which was very exciting and very scary.
Yeah, it was cool.
It was pretty scary for a daytime soap. So I was pretty excited about the chill room. But like, he was talking about what they could use this for, and he was like, the medical applications. And this guy sat right next to Rick and said, but imagine what we could do if we could control the weather. If we have problems with a country, control the weather. And I was like, oh, no.
Yeah.
No. And then
So,
like
they were
just
smart to destroy it.
Yeah, it was the right thing to do.
I have the note. Luke and Robert destroy the machine with guns. They just shoot the shit out of it. Which
so
sounds like
dumb.
a good
You
time.
could have just opened it up and pulled pieces out of it. They just smashed it.
Yeah. Whatever. I have my note. Bobby's hair is great before mullet.
Oh, her hair is pretty. Actually, it's kind of similar to mine, a little longer, but
And her and Noah are together, it looks like, and they're so cute.
Yes, adorable.
It's very flirty and very good chemistry.
Yeah, and he's telling her to come home with him, and she's like, that doesn't sound like a smart idea, but they're laughing and kissing. and I loved it.
So Monica and Corrigan have like a little meeting. She gives him $5,000 or whatever, and he's like, I don't know why he felt the need to say. He's like, "You're still in love with Alan," and then she's like, "That's the funniest thing I heard all day." And then like he walks
Well,
out.
first off, he had been paid already, and he got fired because he left that note at the hospital. So he messed up, and then he went to Monica and basically blackmailed her for $5,000 more. And
Right.
she was like, "Why don't you get the hell out of here?" And he's like, "You're a horrible person." And she's like, "I'm a horrible person. You want $5,000 more. Like you were already paid." So she's like, "Fine." She pays him the money, and then he takes pot shots at her. And she's just
Yeah.
like, "Get the hell out of here." And I'm like, "Yes, Monica, 100%."
Um, so finally, oh, Alan proposes to Susan in this one. So we have some big things in
They
this one.
are really cute together, and I hate that because
They
you know how much I love
are.
Monica and Alan. But like, he was so sweet when he showed up and proposed.
I
And
know. And
she was in New York City, so he was bringing her back to the cottage.
I guess we're gonna see how it all goes wrong.
Also, her hair was much better. Hair
Oh
gets
my God,
worse
wasn't it?
towards the once it hits 82, 83, the hair gets horrible.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I say, yeah, I do. This is where I mentioned, this is where the helicopter comes. I said, Luke and Laura get the hornies, and the helicopter comes for them.
They have been trying to like grab a moment alone this entire time, and Robert
This
has
is
been.
not the time to do it.
I know, and Robert keeps saying that through the entire thing. He's like, "Not
Yeah,
now. You have the rest of your lives to hook up. Stop
like
it.
what?
We're busy."
So, Valentine's the one that came with them, right?
Yeah, Valentine.
A lot of the guys look the same to me, the older guys, and I can't keep track of them. Like Ramsey, Valentine, like they look the same to me. I can't get them separate in
Okay.
my head. Um,
Burt Ramsey has a
so
very, very distinctive voice. That's why he stands out to me, and he's always with Robert.
so Laura's reunited with her parents. Everybody's happy. Leslie is dressed like a fortune teller for
I love
some
that.
reason.
I don't know if that was the style at the time, but I loved that. I thought she looked ridiculous, and
Right.
I was there for it, honestly.
They tell everybody that they destroyed the machine. Then I guess this is later on. Joe and Heather get back together. They're like, they kiss. He apologizes to her, and he says he felt for her whether or not she killed Diana.
Is that true though? Because like you can say that now that you know she didn't,
Yeah, right.
right? And Joe is the one who I think is suspicious about Hutch being there. Is that in this
Hutch
one?
tells Hutch tells Rose he doesn't want to take her down. Like he just wants to leave town or whatever. She wants to go with him. And I
She's so
have
sad. She's just such a sad character sometimes.
Island Gang goes home.
Well, no, there's one thing we have to talk about with the Island Gang. They bring this is when Scotty's name starts getting mentioned again, because Scotty, I'm going to say fled to Mexico after
Yeah,
he found out that Luke and Laura were sleeping together, and he's been off the map. Nobody knows where he is, and this is a huge problem because Laura can't get divorced if she can't
right.
find Scotty, and everyone keeps saying to her, "Where's Scotty? Where's Scotty?" Like she would know. And she's like, "I don't know. He
Yeah,
disappeared." So they have Joe Kelly. That's why he was gone. He went to find Scott. And
right.
Lee Baldwin is upset because Scott's his son and he won't talk to him.
So that's basically their story when they get back to town in the this September 25th episode.
Yeah, but it
Um,
starts happening here while they're still in Venezuela. They start talking about where is Scotty and how to get in touch with Scotty.
and I guess Heather and Rose are pretty close friends. They don't really show that in what we've seen, but
But she is working there.
in these episodes, though, they seem pretty close because she's very defensive of Rose and protective of Rose, it seems. You never know with Heather.
Yeah, you
We
never
never
know
know
with
if she has
Heather.
a motive.
It doesn't seem like Heather can
Um,
keep female friends. So it's strange to me to see her actually sticking up for another woman.
right. So Anne and Jeremy are supposed to move with Jeff. They get the letter. We talked about that already. So
Oh, that
that's
poor woman. They
I
thought
know.
she was getting a romantic
I
letter
know.
from Jeff saying, "Come join me." And she's like, "Let me read it on my own." And thank God she did say
Yeah,
that because that
I
was
know.
humiliating. And to have done that in front of Steve and Audrey would have been so
Audrey.
terrifying.
And Audrey went and kind of consoled her, and that's how that basically ended in this
It was so
episode.
sad.
Everybody's coming back to Port Charles, and they're throwing a party at the hospital for them, it appears.
Why at the hospital?
Why not? Everybody's there already, I guess. So they're like, let's
Well,
have
there's
a
a lot
party.
of reporters and stuff there, and they were like, "This is supposed to be a secret mission." And here, Tiffany called in for a press conference.
We see our Brian and Claudia.
Yay! I love Claudia.
Yes, and it's so funny how much younger they look, like a year before. Everybody looks so much younger. It's so
Well,
strange.
her hair is really cute too. She has it done in braids, and she's just adorable. And she has so much energy. And when Luke sees her, he like kind of picks her up, spins her around, and I was
Right.
like, "Yay!" Because like I like these characters, and they're just not on enough.
And you know what? They should have made this a thing because they said Valentine says they want to have Luke Spencer Day, and I'm like, that would have been fun. They like if the
Can you
kind
imagine
of
if
like
that was
have
still
a
happening?
you know like there's like a 4th of July barbecue for some shows, and like there's like different things. I feel like that would have been fun. Like, oh, it's Luke
How
Spencer Day. Like we got to do this, you know?
how funny would that be? Okay, first off, if it was still happening now in 2024, and
Right.
Laura's the mayor and has to host her ex-husband day, and Scotty
Yeah,
lives in
right.
that town, like it would be a nightmare in
I
the best
know,
way. I love it. I
right?
wish they had done it. That's a shame. That's a missed
Like
opportunity.
like Scotty could like ransack the day, like try to ruin whatever's going on or
That would be so
some
funny if
stupid shit.
every year he ruined it somehow. That would
Like
be
draw a mustache on his little poster.
like Ken Schreiner would have loved
Stupid
that.
thing.
That would be amazing.
Um, so Robert, Tiffany, all the crew are getting bombarded by paparazzi. Luke's like, later, we'll deal with this later. Like he's getting all crazy over it. I'm like, deal with it now. Just be like, listen, we saved the world. What else? Like, it's not gonna be that long. Like, why would you put it off?
Luke's just like that. He it's funny how he doesn't want the attention, but he also loves the attention.
Right.
The one thing I noted in this scene that I really liked was Laura went to Monica immediately to find out how AJ was doing. Like she just went through this nightmarish adventure in all this on the boats and all the dead people and right away beeline to Monica. How's the baby?
Right.
She's
That
so
was sweet of
cool.
her, yes.
Yeah,
She
it was
is.
so
She's
cool.
great.
And Monica's like, why are you thinking about me right now?
Those are important moments to me. Like I always feel like that's very real, you know, like it's
It was a
cool.
friendship. It was definitely a friendship moment.
Right. They didn't have cell phones, they couldn't text, so they had no, you know, they didn't know what was going on while they were gone for it was only probably like a week, but it was 2 months in soap opera time.
Well, if you think about it, Rick, who is her dad, did the surgery on Monica's baby. So like
Right.
she would have known about it from all of that.
So Lee and Joe meet about Scotty. They're talking like where he's at. So yeah,
I feel
they
bad for
wanna
Lee because he
I
just
guess this is
wants a good relationship with Scotty and it just never works out until they're much, much older.
so this is about 2 months before Luke and Laura's wedding. So I guess yeah, she had to get divorced pretty quick. So
Yeah,
find
because
Scotty.
they've been together for a while too. Like they were on the run. They've been together for a while.
Rick tells Monica that Alex was killed on the island.
That was sad because Edward reacted to it exactly like a Quartermain. He was like, "What about her will? What about her money? What about her socks?"
Yeah,
And
right.
everybody was like, "What about the fact that she's dead?" And Edward he's just such a practical person in the worst way. He was like, "Listen, I'm upset that she's dead, but I need to know about
Yeah.
her will because of the stocks."
This is also when Alan brought Susan and Aunt Alice to that house.
The cottage.
And Susan is very worried about Alan and all this stuff, and they're real sweet together. And I just want to know what goes wrong. 'Cause I'm
Monica,
like, when
is
we
he still in
saw,
love with Monica? He's never not been in love with Monica. Even
yeah,
when they hate each other, they're still in love. They're like the greatest couple ever.
well then this should have made Susan a serial killer because that would have been way more interesting than her death.
To be honest with you, her death was a little bit of a letdown. I think
Oh my gosh,
if
it was
she had
such a
died,
letdown.
during that car accident situation, I think it would have been a much better storyline.
There was really not many people that wanted to kill her, so it's like you really had no idea, and then like it made no sense with the person that did. Anyway, that's a different story.
I know
We'll
it's in the
continue
future,
on with you.
but I do like how they handle Alex's death when they go tell Lila, because Lila has the reaction you
I
expect.
didn't wait. We're not in that. That's the
Is that
next
the next
episode. I
one?
didn't watch
Okay,
it.
that's the
Yeah,
next one.
sorry.
I'm
So,
too far ahead.
yeah,
It all
and
blended
we're not
together
too.
for me.
Yeah. um, Tiffany and Robert hang at his place, and she's coming on strong to him.
She so is.
She wants a piece of Robert, and that's when she mentions that she wants him to produce her movie, and he's like, I don't know.
He doesn't seem
um,
too upset about it. I don't know. Like I never feel like Robert is that serious about relationships, except for
right.
maybe Holly and his kind of co-parenting relationship with Anna. I never see him that serious about women.
Laura and Joe meet up about Scotty. Scotty's angry. He wants to face Laura alone. She's like, yeah, might as well. She wants the marriage to end with dignity. Um,
Luke doesn't want her to though.
well, we didn't get there yet.
I
I'm
don't.
almost there.
Okay.
Um, yeah, Tiffany. Yeah, Tiffany likes Robert, and she says she wants to hang around Port Charles. It seems they kiss. Valentine interrupts them, and I guess this is their storyline now. He's saying that they got to go to court over something. Is it
Because
over the weather machine?
he destroyed the weather machine, he destroyed the formula. That was all stuff that would have gone to the WSB. So he
Oh,
broke
gotcha.
protocol. So he's going to have to face charges for that because he works
Well,
for the
that's his
WSB and he can't just do
right.
that
You can't
without
just do that.
orders. He did the
So
right
then
thing, by the way. He still
we
did the
get
right thing.
to Jeff's letter and Anne. We talked about
Oh,
that already. That
heartbreaking.
happened. I liked when Tiffany did ask Robert. He said Cecil B. I'm gonna be like Cecil B. the Scorpio. Yeah, Cecil B. DeMille is I think the one that
That's
did Gone with the
he
Wind.
really has diamond mines because I don't remember him ever having diamond mines. I don't know what that's about. Like, is that a cover
I
story
don't
from
know.
earlier? Because I don't
Maybe,
know. I don't know
or
because
maybe that's what she thinks. She
well,
wants money. I don't
Laura confirmed it, so I don't know if she confirmed it to be an asshole or if she confirmed it
know.
because it's true. Because it's kind of like Laura to do that.
And basically, this episode ended with Luke and Laura talking about how she wanted to see Scotty alone, and he didn't want that to happen.
I don't blame him. Like, I understand, like, and first off, her pushback was perfection. She was just like, remember when you told me you want to be your own person? You're afraid that we got too close too fast and we're not our own individuals. Well, this is a
Yeah,
chance for me to be my own person. And he's like, I get that. That's fine. You can meet with Scotty, but I'm going to Mexico with you. And he's like, we can
right.
party afterwards. But like, I understand why she wants to do it alone. But
Oh, for sure.
I also understand why he doesn't want her to be in Mexico by herself with her angry soon-to-be ex-husband.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, why don't they just like, hey, how about I go with you, but I'll stay at the hotel while you go talk to Scotty? Like, I don't know.
I think that's where it's headed, and I think that's what Luke was trying to say. But you know how he over dramatizes everything, and instead
Right,
of just being like, "Baby, I'm going to go with you, and I'll just stay at the hotel till you're done dealing with Scotty," he's just like, "Well, you're not going alone. I'm not letting you go alone." He's like, "I don't want to
right.
be away from you right now," and she's just like, "Ugh."
All right. Well, anything else you want to say about those 4 episodes? Because we're gonna wrap this up.
I want to say that I liked seeing the town get back to normal after the weather machine. And I also think the show did a great job of showing the consequences of this big, crazy story arc was far reaching throughout every character on the show. Sometimes I
Yeah,
feel like now in the current show that events happen in a bubble and they're not affecting each group of characters like they did. In the old series, the Ice Princess storyline affected every single person on the show in some way.
right.
And I love the connectivity of that. And I also think if you put Monica and Alan on, I'm going to focus on them the entire time.
I always love the umbrella arcs myself.
Yeah.
They did it in a lot of soaps. They do that where it spins off. They had one in a Guiding Light where one woman in the town kidnapped everybody's kids because she snapped,
Whoa.
and it affected everybody, and it was really cool. And she was, I think, I'm not sure if she killed people before that. She might have, or I think she was just like the Springfield stalker or whatever. But it was really cool. It was a good story.
Yeah, and
And that actress was great.
because this storm happened, you had like so much more tension on AJ's open heart surgery.
Right.
You had Hutch ending up hiding at Kelly's. You had everyone in the town like unable to get anywhere or handle anything, and it just ratcheted up the tension on every single storyline. And I think that's an
Yeah.
amazing way to like do that umbrella arc without having everybody be there on the island, but like everything on the island is affecting everybody at home.
Yeah, it's cool.
It was
So
really well written.
see we can't wait to see more. We're gonna wrap this up for today, and we will get back to you probably next week or 2 weeks or whatever with some more General Hospital 1981. And we're gonna cover until Laura leaves the first time in 1982. So
mean,
we'll
when
be
she gets
having
kidnapped.
yeah. But thanks for joining Queers and Soaps for the day. Join us on, or follow us on all the socials, and we'll bring you more. We're doing a lot of stuff. Keep watching, comment, like, subscribe. See you later.